Welcome to the best hour of their day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
as both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates
and coaches by building
better boxes. Welcome to
the best hour of your day.
Another legend.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ben Bergeron. We've had Nicole Carroll. We've had Coach B. We've had Chris Hinshaw. Now we got Ben Bergeron. First time on the best hour. I've been chasing Ben for just like he's been chasing excellence.
Nice plug.
You see that?
That's a good plug. Okay.
You see that for years? I was telling
He's
Ben.
been waiting all week to say that.
He's been planning that.
Yeah.
He wrote that out
Check
many
that
times.
off my list of jokes, everybody. I was telling Ben, we met in 2008. Will Heather get mad if I tell that?
No, of course not.
We met in 2008, the first ever non-CrossFit sanctioned competition in my parking lot. And my memory of Ben and his wife now, obviously, Heather, is just a drunk Heather Bergeron, not willing to leave my parking lot in a cowboy hat, very little clothes probably, and just
decked out in physio tape and
not even because that wasn't around. That wasn't around at the time.
Physio tape.
But the cowboy hat, and she's like, "I love you, thanks for this," and I'm like,
so we talk about that Albany. There was a series of Albany competitions, but we talk about those first two ones a lot.
How so?
That was that was the thing that started it all on the East Coast.
In the CrossFit space. That started it all.
That's what got us here.
Thank you,
That's
Jason Ackerman, for creating the CrossFit Games.
I don't want to throw up in my mouth.
But that was like us going and participating in a competition for the first time at a high level, and then the next one, the first, I think it was a regional, was the next one, wasn't it?
I ran a regional, then you ran like one.
Yeah, but the regional that you did up, we
did do a couple at Albany.
caravanned up in we got like a Winnebago and came up with a group of like 12 of us.
Was Derek Muhammad, right?
Yep.
And then you had Matt Frankel at the time.
Yep.
You had a bunch of other well-known.
Mel Lockerbie.
Oh, Mel, yeah. And that's what's so fun
Those
about.
are some names I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah. I mean, and then think about those. Many of them went on not only to be phenomenal athletes over the course of time, both of those two went on to own affiliates and be a part of seminar staff. So you were breeding, high-level athletes as well as because that was one of the things I took from you very early on. Members or coaches would leave to open their own affiliate, and I would get so upset. I'm sure we've all been there. And I remember seeing you do it. I don't remember if I heard you talk about it or watched a video, but you and remember Elizabeth Darsh?
Yeah.
Used to say things like, your box is measured by how many people do that. If people are leaving to do what you're doing, cool. And you've motivated them, and it did help me reframe my thinking about it, because you take it as just a kick in the balls, when in reality it's like I've motivated someone to chase their dreams.
Yeah.
How many affiliates came from New England?
I think we have like 24.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
And they all basically in that Mass area?
Yeah, they're not
all
going
down the street.
I mean, no one's directly down. We have one that's you could throw a rock to. But they're all within a 20-mile radius.
And do you have a pretty good relationship?
This is what happens when they leave is everybody leaves, and when they leave, I do my best. Yeah, it's a kick in the balls, because you're losing one of your really good coaches and a good friend. Like they're always going to be those two things. And yeah, they might be pulling 5, 10, or 15 members as well, but that's over the timeline. That's going to come back. It just every single time has. And whenever they leave, it's always, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll do the throwdowns together, and we'll do this. And after 4, 5, 6 of them, you realize that it's just not what happens.
It's like your friends from high school and college.
Exactly
like you
right.
still love them,
if they move to a different state, it's kind of the equivalent. It's really challenging.
It's like a weird breakup. It's like it wasn't necessarily bad, but you're like, we should probably like have our distance here a little bit. Maybe
you guys know how busy you are when you run a business. It's like, and you just.
It's like, it's like when your friend has a kid and you're like, hey, we're still going to hang out, and then haven't seen you and your kid's 9.
I want to say this also. There's been numerous times I've seen your name in books. Not your books.
Oh, cool.
You must know it. Pressfield. Stephen Pressfield has mentioned you.
What?
Yeah. Robert Greene.
What?
I've read multiple books.
I have no idea.
You didn't know this?
No, I did not know this.
Oh,
I've read both of them.
Well, there's multiple Pressfield and Robert Greene books. But you
Pressfield as in like
Stephen Pressfield,
the Art of War.
Yeah.
The Art of-
Holy crap.
He's mentioned you, as well as
amazing.
I think it was Robert Greene, like Ryan Holiday's.
Mastery.
Ryan Holiday,
yeah.
And I always think it's cool because I'm like, oh, like that's like it's like
That's
seeing your
amazing.
peers advance, right? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's like
I had
really
no
cool.
idea. That's
multiple
really-
times, yeah.
It wasn't good, but
No,
he said
it was what not to do. It was a book of what not to do.
I was like, hey, how?
No, I'll find him at some point.
Yeah, how
and
to do
send-
things
and-
poorly.
and
No,
send
just
them to
kidding.
you. But it's really
Oh,
cool
it's
to
so
see
good.
that, to see the growth.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we've known each other 15 plus years.
Yeah.
It's cool to see
How many?
the evolution.
Speaking of it, how many years has New England been open? Like, where are you guys
We
at?
affiliated in 2017, so this is year 14.
Year
I'm sorry,
14. I was
sorry,
going to say
2007.
2007.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So next year will be the big one. That will
Got
be
it.
the 15-year anniversary.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hit 14 in October.
Well, let's take a journey back. You were a triathlete.
Yep, correct.
Is that how you found CrossFit?
No, I was a triathlete.
Were you pretty high level triathlete or just
Depends
participating?
on what high level is. I wasn't like a games level. I was probably like a semifinal. I was trying to qualify for world championships.
So these are all fulls. These you're not doing like sprints and
I did
and
sprints,
Olympics.
but I did 2 Ironman. I was
Got it.
I had an outside chance. So he made it say it this way: world class times are like the winners win in 8 hours. Really good people are 10. Average is like 13 hours,
Right.
and there's a 17-hour cutoff.
And what's your best?
My best was like 10 and a half.
It's good.
That's fast.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
fast. What's
Like,
your weakest of the 3?
Biking.
Biking?
Really?
Yeah,
You're a
and
good
biking.
swimmer?
No, but like,
But you're worse than biking?
Well, swim is
but
it's
swim
relatively
is-
short, like
it's-
comparatively to the other two.
yeah.
I mean, not the 2 miles is short.
And now compared to like CrossFit athletes, biking would be my best.
Right.
Which is kinda
You would have
weird.
won the biking event here?
No, definitely.
No?
You know that's what's wild about like these athletes now. If I was to take my triathlon capacity and compare it to CrossFit Games athletes in 2008, 9, and 10, my swim, bike, run would have been very, very high. I would have felt very, very comfortable with those athletes. I would come in dead last.
Really?
I swim with these guys, so I know, like, I swim, I've swam with Chandler. Like, I swim with Chandler training, and it's not easy to keep up with him. Like, he was good in the water, and he would come here,
Right.
and he would come in 3rd or 4th to last. That's how good, like, people don't realize how good these guys are now. Like,
The Aussies are always strong
Yeah.
in the water, like always, either on the
and
board
people always
or in the
just
water.
associate it to, like, back in 2008, 9, 10, when the games field was not strong swimmers.
I tell you where last year when they swam in the
Yep,
in the
in the
pavilion in the pool and watching Fikowski and who's in first place right now for the
Roman.
men. Yeah, Roman. Watching them swim in that event, I was like, that's impressive. I was a rescue swimmer. I wasn't a great swimmer, but I'm proficient in the water. And I was watching them get in the pool, and I was like, well, I'm looking at 2 people that are very, very good at swimming and are swimming like hard.
Yeah.
Like they look like motorboats going through the water. I was like, oh, that's no joke.
Amanda Barnhart is a D1 swimmer.
Right.
She came in 2nd in the pool, and the top 2 were not like light years ahead of ours.
Right. Yeah.
So
Wild.
what brought you to CrossFit if it wasn't the triathlons?
Okay, so I was doing triathlon at the time, but I didn't find it through triathlon. I found it through strength and conditioning. I was a strength and conditioning coach at the time, working with high school athletes. And I was just constantly on the search for, like, when I found CrossFit, I had that feeling like I found something I didn't even know I was looking for.
I think that's a good way to put it.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah, and
I did too.
I knew I was looking for something, and I would go and get all the different levels of certification. So I did like my ISSA, I did my NASM, I did my CSCS,
yeah.
I did all NSC, like all those different things. not knowing why I was continuing to go do the next thing because
Just looking for that. I feel like that's not it.
it's not clicking. It's not clicking. And that's when I found. So I was on all these forums and trying to learn as much as I could. Found the CrossFit website through one of those forums. Jumped on and had that kind of like whoa moments.
What was the first workout?
The first thing I saw was like, you remember how like the old one and just that list of links.
Yeah.
And I was like, nasty girls, click.
Yeah, it'd be like the
Oh my
dot
God.
wave or
You're like,
dot
oh, shit.
MOV, and you could watch it.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
dot
Yeah,
MOV.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
So click that, watch it. I was like, whoa, that's like nothing I've seen before. And I think Nicole Carroll's crying at the end
we
of
just
it.
had her on.
We
She
had her
was
on
talking
yesterday. We
about
were
it.
talking
Yeah.
through the whole thing. Yeah.
So kind of stayed up all night watching that stuff. You know, I'm a personal trainer at the time and have to get up at 4:30 in the morning, but like was like just enthralled with it. First workout I did was Cindy. I did 18 rounds. Thought I was a
Pretty good.
stud.
And you
'cause I
saw
was
Spieler's 40.
and that's exactly what I saw.
Yeah.
I saw Spieler and I was like, 33?
He's cheating.
Like,
He did.
What is
He did 38 at one point, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
what
at the
is
peak.
that? So I'm like, feel like I'm fairly fit. I feel like I'm doing what the pinnacle of fitness is, like triathlon, Ironman, and seeing what these guys are getting and realizing I have so much room to. And also, the reason I liked triathlon was because it wasn't just endurance. It was this for the skinny guys. At least it had swimming, which is
Right.
sort of muscular.
Right.
It's sort of an upper body thing. But when I found CrossFit, I was like, oh, you can be strong and fit, and like everyone found it. Like, yes.
Were you doing a lot of strength training at that time when you were doing
I would
triathlons?
do like 3-4 days a week of get in the gym and do an
But
upper
the
body pump.
chest
Right.
tries type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, the old school stuff.
So
Yeah.
you find CrossFit, you do Cindy, and then what's the transition from traditional strength and conditioning to CrossFit New England?
Started doing it with some of my personal training clients. I had them all do Filthy 50 regularly. So like Filthy 50 like every...
So no constantly varied, just filthy
No,
50s.
Filthy 50 meaning like Filthy 50 every 5 or 6 weeks. That
Yeah.
was our benchmark.
Yeah.
So kind of do this. What was cool, and this is how I knew I found something, before I found CrossFit, I had a shared leaderboard for all of my clients.
How'd you do that?
Analog on a clipboard. I would have like just a chart, and I would say like, I had an obstacle course that I had them do behind the gym, that I had them all do like 10 push-ups, run up the hill, drag this sled, do this, jump over this thing. I had a test on the treadmill. I had pull-ups. I had
That's
all
kind
these.
of advanced for a personal trainer
So that's
in
what
2005-06.
that's when I found it. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so much better.
You're like,
than
I'm
what
kind of doing that, but
this is
it's like
so
this
much
is
better.
packaged to different. Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool.
So then the transition was started doing my clients, then started doing my athletes in the strength and conditioning field, started doing more and more of it. And then I can remember being on a training run in Lake Placid for the Ironman with my training buddy, running around the lake, and we still talk about it all the time. I'm like, I think I'm going to do this other thing. It's like, this thing sounds so awesome.
Like you stopped triathlons.
Yeah, stop triathlons. I did one more half after that, and I was like going through the motions because I was so interested in this instead.
It's hard to make that fun once you found CrossFit.
No, it's completely that.
Well, that,
I
just
can remember
the
being on that
hours.
bike during that, and I was like, if I just run in that guardrail, this thing would be over.
I could just not do this anymore. Yeah.
So-
I used to do I think the perfect distance for CrossFitters is a sprint
That's great.
triathlons.
What's that, a
right-
half?
It's under
it
90
might not
minutes.
be perfect, but it's the best one.
It's
that
the
they
best
have.
one for CrossFitters, where I think it's just, the distances are just long enough that like
It takes about an hour.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if you're crushing, you could get like you might be able to squeeze under an hour, but like even somebody like just me just walking in there, I'm like you come under 90 minutes. You can
Yeah.
get in the water as long as you're not a complete disaster in the water.
Yeah, 500-meter swim.
Yeah. 15
10,
on the bike.
15-minute bike,
Yeah.
and then a 5K.
Yeah, 5K. So it's like it's a good test.
Yeah.
And within the time limit, you don't have to do a ton of training, put in any mileage for that, as long as you're okay in the water.
Off topic, I watched the documentary on the Barkley Marathons last night. Have you
Somebody
guys heard
was
of that?
just talking about that.
There's a bunch on YouTube that I found. It's the most interesting thing they
gotta
do.
watch it.
This old dude smoking cigarettes. No
Yeah.
joke.
No,
Lazarus is his name.
It's so funny. This is the third time it's come up this week.
Go on YouTube and search Barkley, and I think there's one on Netflix also. But they basically have to do like 5 8-hour loops. They change directions, middle of the night, like so many weird rules. Like no one knows what time it starts, but it was seriously.
That's amazing.
And like
There's
very
another
few
one
people
called
finish it.
Just 1 mile. You heard of that?
No.
This is really cool. Backwoods, Tennessee.
This is in Tennessee also, the Barkley ones.
It's all in Tennessee.
What's going on down there?
Yeah, they're trying to compete with West Virginia. Yeah, they're winning.
Not in the right way.
Just 1 mile. You have 20 minutes to complete a 1 mile loop through the woods, 300 feet of elevation gain. So that's a legit elevation gain. At the 20-minute mark, the next one starts. If you're not back, you're out.
It's like the beep test.
It's the beep test. It's
death by.
It's exactly the beep test, and the winner is last person standing.
How many miles do they finish?
They end up going about 130 miles.
So,
Don't tell Tosh about this.
yeah, this is lasting a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you get 3 miles in an hour. So 3 times.
Well,
so
that's
a
like
day
50,
is 27. It's like 2 days.
Yeah, and the Barkley
No
caps
sleep,
at 60 hours.
Yeah.
It's super. You would like it. Check that out.
I would not like to do it. I'll watch that documentary.
What's the time frame from I found CrossFit, I'm triathlon's not happening to I'm going to open CrossFit New England?
Pretty quick. Within a year.
And are you still in the same spot?
We are. Yeah.
Where there's like a little side room, I want to say.
The side room we blew out, so we have the whole building now.
Okay, so that's
so that
it's
little.
changed.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've been
remember there's
there.
like a little side room.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there?
But you've done multiple different expansions in there.
We've just keep on kind of like.
Because you put showers in there at some point, I think.
Yeah,
in
we
the
just
back.
keep on taking over like the next 800 square feet.
I remember the first time I walked in there, I was like, oh, this is because it was like a dog leg before you blew that out, and I was like, this is the exact same footprint as my
similar to
gym.
yours, yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, because it was always hard to gauge when you see pictures of other people's gyms. I'm like, how big is that? Whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, great. That's like I get it now. I'm like, all right, this is awesome.
You know, at the time, especially, you hear CrossFit New England, and you're like, it's this beautiful, massive body. And then you go there, and there's a little weird room over here. Like it just shows the coaching, what you create there is far more important than the space.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can, and that's what Glassman created. Right. It's like the term box we forget stems from like it's a warehouse space or it's a storage unit. Like anything can become a successful affiliate. You opened CrossFit New England, and like we said, you've developed plenty of coaches. You've had some amazing athletes. What's that journey been like for you? Because at one point, and you still are very fit, but you were like the fit, and you must have had to take a back seat in order to focus on your community, but also the athletes you were helping.
Yeah, I was. I competed. My highest level was competing at the games on the team, but it was like.
Were you on a New England team?
Yeah.
Which year? The year you won?
10. No, not the year we won. We won the next year, I think. We won 11.
Did you podium with you on it?
No.
You were holding the team back?
It was me. That's why I stepped away. Realized
So
you're a much better coach than being on the podium.
It's me.
I remember
It's
there's
me.
a great picture of Frankel hitting that wall ball, right?
Yeah.
The year you.
That's the year we won.
It
Yeah.
ended with all the girls.
Yes.
Hobart was on that team.
Yeah. So at that year. When they did the briefing for the workouts, the athletes didn't even need to be there. You could show up if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So the briefing was in the tennis stadium. It was Sunday morning, the last day of the games, and Castro gets up and announces the workout. I went so the athletes could sleep in a little bit later. And after he announces it, I texted the team, we're going to win the CrossFit Games. We had just done, we trained us together as a team all the time, and what I used to do with them was like they had to make decisions on the fly. So I go, here's 6 workouts. You have 1 minute to decide who's doing the first one. 3, 2, 1, go. And then here's the next workout, 3, 2, 1. So we had done almost that exact iteration 2 weeks before, and I knew the capacity.
Everybody knew.
Everyone knew who was doing what, like immediately. It was very cool.
Frankel went unbroken on Karen and had
disgusting.
about 20 no reps.
That's gross. That's really gross.
That's become urban myth at this point.
Is that not entirely
That's
true?
not accurate, yeah.
He did go unbroken.
He
broke it up
could
6
have
times.
gone unbroken for not all of the no reps.
Oh, he didn't actually go
He
on.
did
I
not
made that.
actually, 'cause-
I think if I remember correctly, Mel did Fran, Hobart did Diane. I don't remember
Yes.
the rest of it, but I remember just that image of like Matt Frankel's an awesome. I think he's or his wife's I think that's
No,
his
he's
wife.
a chiropractor now,
He's a
right?
chiropractor,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
what I thought. Yeah, yeah.
Doctor.
I see
Frankel?
videos of him like practicing on the internet. Yeah, it's cool.
That's pretty cool. You were at the forefront of the professional coach. Even just that. Because I would imagine most of the teams were like, what do you want to do? Like, who's doing, I don't want to do ball balls.
We should have a plan, everybody.
And you're like, you're doing this, you're doing that. And also the foresight to understand, like, that's where the sport was going. It wasn't just going to be like.
Or did you know that's where the sport was going?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that's where the sport was going.
Meaning.
There's going to be some unknown and
at this
uncertainty
point-
in there.
Well, no, just meaning like it's still not kind of like at its peak yet. Like it's moving. It's like 2010, 11, but it's like 14, 15. This is when it's like shit's on ESPN. You know, it's like
So I think the only I loved it. So when you love it as much as that, it's really easy to maybe the passion creates a little more levels of creativity
Right.
and commitment.
right. Okay.
Right, so I took maybe a little more creativity and commitment to the coaching aspect than other people might have. A lot of coaching was, I think I was actually the first, call it remote coach. Chris Spieler hired me to be his coach when no one had a coach at the time.
I was thinking that essentially when I think of gyms that were very early, it's New England and Invictus are the two gyms. I'm like, early on, they were like that. They were all in, and just like when you heard that name, you're just like competitive. They have the teams, all that kind of stuff, and it was those two gyms, like household names, like early on in the game.
Heather and I both love the sport, so it's so easy for us to let's get teams, let's get
Right.
individuals. When you take it seriously, the coaching elevates, and then all of a sudden you have staff that's becoming level ones. And it was
Right.
it was a
Did
really cool, exciting time. Really cool.
So knowing what you know, if you look back now and you're looking at that time when you guys are kind of focusing on competing, it's not an uncommon story. Gym owner's like, yeah, we're going to put a team together, and then like the gym implodes. Were you guys seeing that at this point, like that earlier in the game? Like, was there like a tug of war with regard to like time and attention, and does now you have like a bifurcated community?
There wasn't, because we were so laser focused on what we knew we were creating. We wanted to create a competitive gym.
That was literally
Yes.
the intent. Okay.
So that happens, what you're talking about, when people have these dual visions. Like, let's create this cool community gym where everyone feels welcome, and then let's also try to have a team. And that's where
Right.
that thing falls apart.
Right.
We were, let's go compete in the sport of CrossFit. And people that want to be a part of that on any level, aka take this thing really seriously, had a home. And the people that didn't stay.
Didn't stay.
It's the
Yeah, they're like,
truth
it's
of
way
it.
too serious for me.
So,
Yeah.
case in point in that, my philosophy was, if we were a running club, I would want every one of the members of the running club to participate in a 5K. That's what
Right.
runners of a running club do. Let's join the local 5K. So that was the drive. It was so laser focused that it was, when the open comes around, we're going to have 100% participation. And the way I used to do that, by the way, this is not the way CrossFit New England is now at all.
Well, I was going
right?
to say, like,
We
I
are-
never heard of you as not a community.
We are maybe like, well, we are a community, but we are a community with a very shared ethos.
Okay.
Right.
Let's be really freaking good at this thing. Now, it's not about that. Now it's about kicking ass in your 90s. It's about like,
Right.
But the way we made that was, I used to get in front of the class before the class would start. I would say, okay, the 20 people that are in this class, if you have signed up for the open, please have a seat. And there'd be like maybe 4 people still standing. I was like, the class will start when these 4 people have signed up for the open. Please go to
So
the
you
front desk.
recommend affiliates are doing that?
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
so
not-
what
not
Ben is
at
saying is
all.
like, shame your members.
yes.
Yeah, shame.
Who
But-
did not eat paleo last night?
I'm gonna
Unbelievable.
need to see your
And
receipts
I look
from your
back on
grocery
that,
store.
I'm like, holy cow.
I think
like,
we all
Everybody
look
did
back on that,
something
especially
stupid like that.
8. Well, that was probably about 10, 11, 12 time frame, which
yeah,
is
exactly.
I think
the
we all
goal
look,
was to have the most participation. We were just really competitive.
Right.
Not just the sport. I wanted to win everything.
Right.
So if there was a fundraising thing, I wanted to raise the most money. If there was a reward for the most people to get registered for the open, I wanted to win that. And it was like competition drove what we did.
How many of the outside of the open? How many of your members in that time frame were competing in something?
oh, they used
like
to show up
local.
in our events in droves, like 20 members of New England would be there. Like, fit old, like, 50, 60-year-olds, like, showing up. Like, you mentioned Bubba.
Yeah.
I remember he's probably 50 at the time, maybe a little younger.
Yeah.
Fit dude, right? Like, I couldn't remember the names. You had some women as well that were
Elaine?
just like super fit women, like, coming in, crushing the competition. Not to mention Heather and the other team members.
When did you guys shift away?
2016, right around there.
Okay.
For what reason?
Heather and I think it's really important for affiliate owners to create an atmosphere and a vision that's in line with the owner's passions. Like, and don't be apologetic for it. And our own, we had 2 kids now that are young toddlers running around the gym, and our focus has just shifted from, let's create this really ultra competitive gym to let's create more of a community and a family. Like, it changed from win to family.
It's funny because my first affiliate was like a fraternity, because I was in that like single, and then by my third, I didn't have kids yet, but I was like, oh, we need to have families here, and like your priorities shift, and that trickles down, and then you see that in the community,
which is correct, which is like the right, like, I think that people, businesses in general, entrepreneurs, regular everyday people, they create a purpose or a vision for what they want, the values for themselves, and they're reluctant to let that change or evolve, which, if you have the same values when you're 14 that you have when you're 34, that you have when you're 64, we're not learning things along the way.
You have a disaster of a life.
Yes. And the business is the same way. Like, the way you want to create your business when you are in its infancy and you're in years 1 through 5 is probably going to look a lot different than when you're in years 15 through 20.
In that evolution, if you look back now, you're like, hey, what are some of the more pivotal kind of timestamps over those years with regard to either your growth as a leader, as a business person? Are there some, because I think of certain times I'm like, oh, right there, the trajectory on my life takes a hard turn right there at that moment right there. Do you have any of those? Picture this. Your clients are coming into class and no longer feeling daunted by new movements or being intimidated because it's their first class. With Wodify, coaches can insert technique videos right into the Wodify mobile app so that clients can come to class gleaming with excitement instead of being freaked out and intimidated by things that they don't know how to do. Empower your clients with knowledge they need to thrive in their workouts while reducing the risk of injury. Give your clients a world-class workout experience from start to finish. Transform your gym's experience with Wodify. Visit wodify.com/podcast now and claim 50% off your first 3 months. Elevate your gym, empower your clients, and stay steps ahead with Wodify.
Yeah, I would say that there's probably like, CFNE 1.0, 2.0, 3.0.
Yep.
COVID probably put a 4.0.
Right, it's a 4.5.
1.0 is us doing it part-time.
Right.
It was, I'm still a strength and conditioning coach, but we're running classes in the morning before I work with the high school athletes in the afternoon. 2.0 is the getting in the location we're in now through hiring coaches, that's our competitive thing. We wrote up on the whiteboard, I had 2 coaches, Mel and Matt at the time, so only 2 full-time coaches, and we wrote up about 30 different things that we thought we needed to do to be the best gym in the world. And that was our let's go do those things. I would say that was 2.0, and then that went up until about 2016, where I kind of got tired of hiring a bunch of really, really fit athletes that weren't full-time coaches, paying full-time salaries to them. But I did a really terrible job as a leader, creating shared vision and values, roles, responsibilities, holding people to standards. And that's where there's a big inflection point where, I sat down my staff of about 9 full-time coaches that weren't full-time coaches. And
they're just kind of training at this point.
I had hired a bunch of people because we were doing
exercise,
that. Let's get 2 teams to the games. Let's have as many individuals as we can. and it's not a sustainable business model. You can't do that.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
So sat them down and we had the conversation of, I think that we're all going to be really surprised how few of us are here next year.
You said that to your staff.
Yeah.
They're looking around like them, not me.
My fault, not yours. I didn't do a very good job of holding you guys to standards or laying out the vision of what this place needs to be. So I didn't fire anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Only one coach remained a year later.
Who was it?
And we had Harry.
Harry, yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So up until that point, we had almost in a industry that you guys know has turned. It's like
So just a
hosting
revolving
It's
door,
like
yeah.
it's like waiting tables. Like if you're a restaurant, like it's a revolving door of coaches. We had almost no turnover.
That's
Coaches
very
came
rare.
and they stayed.
Because you're
Very
paying
rare.
them to work out.
Yes,
Of course.
Of course they were.
That's the best
exactly
job
it.
ever.
So that's the way I started the conversation off with. Was like
We hope he never figures this out.
I was like, we have very little turnover here. That's a problem.
Yeah, that's funny that you
that's an
say that,
interesting
right?
way to
Like,
think of it. Yeah.
something most people would be like, that's great. You're like, we should be losing people.
Yes,
Because if we're not losing people, we're probably not evolving.
exactly right.
Yeah, that's super
And
interesting.
there's a huge growth mode. Obviously, growth is painful as well, but from 2016 to 2018, 19, right before COVID, were, I would say, sort of the heyday, actually, of CFNE. And I feel like we're falling into another heyday right now. The gym's really awesome right now.
Well, when you say that, what makes you say that? What are some metrics?
Forget like the
just feel
feel, the vibe, the connection. If there's one metric, it's class attendance. Yep.
What's your average class attendance?
We get, I would say the average is probably 19, but that includes like Thursdays, which are low, and
Right.
our fringe classes.
Like
you know,
Saturday mornings, just like 35 people.
in the classes. So like a normal class, so I guess the difference in the average, the median, and the mode. Like if you were to come in, most classes you'd come in, you'd see probably 22 people in class.
Are those classes coached by one person?
Yes.
So obviously there's a lot of effort still to develop your staff.
Yes.
Because one of the things Fern and I preach is don't cap your classes.
Yes.
Because your business is not successful enough to cap for a lot.
We have capped 2 classes.
Like,
For what?
What do you mean?
When the class gets, when the class has an average of over 25, we grandfather everyone into that class, but new members cannot participate in that class.
You used to call that the open and closed
Yeah.
model, right?
Yeah.
I remember we tried that at Albany a little bit.
Now, here's the deal. You can sell me that idea. You're like 25, and I'm like, I've seen your space. I know what 25 looks like in that
And
space.
even the best coaches in the world.
It gets a little squirrely
So
at
what
25.
So that's the average, right?
Right.
And what we really bump into is when classes are over 28, and if we didn't cap it, here's the problem: is our affiliates are a movie theater, and the movie theater puts on classes, and there's only so many seats in the movie theater. Well, if you just sold seats to movies for the day, everyone is going to come to the prime time. So for us, that's 5:30 a.m.
Right.
Everyone shows up to 5:30 a.m. So in that case, you actually the member experience of the 5:30 gets worse and worse and worse with every new member, and the other classes, which have 9 people in them, do not get any better because that's not the prime time.
How do you handle that though? Because someone new joins and you're like, hey,
Here, scoot up.
you can come to any class.
Somehow we
Yeah, we
that's
all
so
took it.
crazy.
It
right?
happens. It happens.
Yeah.
But you can come to any class except
All sorts
for
of weird
one.
stuff happens on the podcast.
Yeah, so we just on the calendar schedule on the schedule on the website, it just says at capacity. When someone joins the gym, we just let them know when they're joining, like, hey, you can come and you come to any class, but this one is
Except
capped.
that one.
So when does that eventually open, and how do you determine who gets to then hop in now?
It hasn't opened in a very
really?
long time. So it was closed right before COVID. It opened after COVID, and then it's closed again.
So if someone were to join They can't attend the 5 still to this day.
To this day, yeah.
And I assume there's people that are like, well, then I can't join here.
That's correct. Yeah.
Now, so
we have a wait list.
So now the important part about this is because I'm pretty bullish with people about capping classes. I'm like, you shouldn't do it. That for you is actual capacity. And my beef is they're like, we're capping at 12, and the excuse is like, this is how we give a good customer experience. And I'm like, A, that's bullshit. And B, you're capping your own growth, right? So how many classes a day do you guys run there?
We do 9 now.
Right, so 9 classes 12. Capped at 25. I'm like, you can do the rough math on that. Like, that makes sense, but it drives me nuts when people are like, we're going to cap our classes because we want to make sure that, and I'm like, but you have 2,000 square feet of open space over here. How about we just be a better coach or be a little bit more organized or adjust your programming to accommodate more people? Because you're also telling me that you're not making any money and all these other things.
No, we're
like,
at the spot, like the reason we cap is because literally
you can.
If you drop a barbell, you're going to
get
drop on somebody else.
Right, and that's what I was saying at capacity. It's going to get a little squirrely in there.
It's a very different, like, theoretical capacity.
Right.
Because we go up to, and again, like we cap it when consistently the classes are bumping up over 30.
Right. And again, that makes sense, right?
Issue.
So because you're like, we are actually bursting at the seams.
Yes.
Like this is now becoming more of a safety issue than anything else. And I'm like, yeah, that absolutely, I would agree with that scenario.
The members are like, you guys got to do something.
They're like, this is a clown show in here.
Well, and like you said, the experience just deteriorates, and eventually you'll lose people anyway.
At what point, I don't even remember, when does CompTrain become a thing?
So it became a thing. It had a really organic growth.
Yeah.
Where CompTrain started as competitors training.
Right.
And the way I would do that was originally it was for my team, like the people that were training to compete in the sport of CrossFit at my gym. I would send them an email and go, hey guys, here's the training tomorrow. That wasn't a very good system because you lose all the data. You have all this, so I created a blog, and I was just like, hey, here it is tomorrow, and I put a picture up from the day before type thing. Here's tomorrow's training, and somebody eventually was like, hey, you know what? People from other gyms look at that blog.
Oh, yeah, I remember we did it at Albany.
I was like, what? I'm like, yeah. So like somebody showed me how to do like Google Analytics. I don't even know if it was Google Analytics back then, but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, you could look at like web hits.
Right.
Yeah.
And like 30,000 people were checking it out. And I was
you
like,
had no idea.
No idea. I was like, actually, it was called Competitors WOD back then, because that's what it was. The competitor.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, okay, like maybe we should clean this up. Maybe we should do something. So rebranded it. Competitors Training was shortened to CompTrain.
Right.
And then over the years, we went from that free model to creating a subscription model for masters. That's where it started. And then we folded the individuals into that. And then we got to where we are.
Is it free now?
There's
still?
free and there's a paid. So there's like
what's the difference?
Free is the workout. You get coach's notes. You get access to a leaderboard. You get the daily workout, the daily training.
That's all on SugarWatt has that, right? Is that on SugarWatt?
So SugarWatt is our gym platform with CompTrain Gym as well. But then on the
meaning like that's the programming you provide for affiliates.
Yeah. But then on the paid side, you get a lot more. You get mindset stuff. You get an entire university with all this different content. You get access to the hundreds of gyms that do CompTrain training that you can drop to anywhere in the world. You get the message board that you connect with other people. You create customized leaderboards, all that stuff.
So recently, I don't remember where. I know you're on. I think it was Savant's.
Mm-hmm.
We were Savant, and he was asking you questions. And what I appreciated about it is like your willingness to be like, I messed up, or I wasn't good at this, whatever. What is going on with CompTrain now?
Well, what's going on now is that we're at the CrossFit Games. This is my last year coaching elite athletes at the CrossFit Games.
So because I know you had said you retired.
So I'm retiring from that.
From coaching elite athletes.
Yeah, retirement's the wrong word. So it came out as Ben's retired.
You've been fired. You've been fired.
Tom Brady, I'm going to be back in 2 weeks. Yeah.
So what is it then if you're not retiring?
What I want to do is take the lessons I've learned over the last 15 years working with these athletes at the CrossFit Games, and I've had the pleasure and honor to work with some really incredible people and humans. Take those lessons and bring it to the community. And I'm now the coach. I'm the CompTrain coach that's working with the community athletes, not just the 4 athletes at a time. I've always been I'm the type of guy that if I'm not doing what I really, really, really love, I'm not very good at what I'm going to do. It's why I sucked at school. That's why I thrived.
That's kind of all of us, though, isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Really?
Like, some people can just like put their head down and grind on things that they...
Well, I can do that, but that doesn't mean I'm good at it. You know what I mean? Like, I can...
If you enjoy it, you'll do better.
So let me say it another way, is one of my goals in life is to find things that I really love and in what looks like work to others but feels like play to me.
Yeah, that's what we do now.
Yeah.
Exactly right. I think that's what a lot of people in this space do. And what I want to do now, where I feel like I can have the most impact, which is the thing that I am always selfishly striving for, is instead of working with 4 athletes at a time and trying to get them to move the 0.0001% each year, is to help. I think that we can move people and change people's lives.
What's that look like?
Specifically, that's me building the CompTrain platform and community.
Okay.
So in years past, I had somebody else do that. Somebody else was running the show and running the day-to-day and running everything that was customer-facing.
So now, you can focus on the athletes.
So I could it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
So I moved from a full-time job of
divas is what you called them. Your words, not mine, Ben.
I never said that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Instead of working with those 4, I want to build an incredible community of people that believe training hard is a necessary ingredient to becoming the best versions of themselves.
And then Cole now is in your role?
Correct.
So is Cole retiring from the sport?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah. He's player coach.
Yep. Cool. Like Pete Rose back in the day. Minus the gambling on CrossFit. But
maybe. We don't know.
But so you're kind of moving on to a broader role. And I remember one of our clients, Trish, you posted something and she's like, we need you with the affiliates, and you were like, wait for it or something. So that's what you're talking about.
Yes. Yeah. So a secondary aspect of that is like the affiliate support side. I played that role in some capacity in the past I did immersion programs where I bring in 6 affiliate owners at a time and kind of pull back the curtain and show them the way that we did things.
Cody did that, yeah.
Yep. Love it, Cody. And then did seminars where I would travel around and talk to people for a full day about things. But I want to truly create a platform that they can be a part of that has all this stuff at their fingertips and they feel supported throughout the entirety of their journey, not just this 3 days and this 1 day.
So those concerned, like CompTrain's going, that is far from the truth. In fact, your goal is to bring it to the masses.
Yes.
Even more so.
Not the masses. I think the masses.
The CrossFit masses.
Yeah.
Or affiliates.
Yes. The affiliates. And, I feel like there's a lot that we can, I'm continuing to share. I'm continuing to grow and evolve every year. And as I do that, I want to share those, the hard lessons that you learned the hard way, and just create
That's where this comes from.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's why this
from all of our mistakes.
Yeah.
Like, don't make these.
Yeah, exactly right.
That's super interesting. So, with that, how will that change your day to day?
It'll change it drastically. Instead of me being on the floor working with athletes, trying to refine their thrusters, pull-ups, and burpees and running, I'm connecting with the community. I'm trying to find out what they need, find out what they want. How can we help them become fitter, faster, stronger, but also more mentally resilient and unshakable? And then secondarily, do the same thing for the affiliates.
We were talking to Pat this morning, Pat Barber, that is about you, and we were saying you're one of the first coaches that wasn't just like taking everyone, like you were like literally, come live with me.
Yeah.
And I'm taking you under. Is part of this like that's exhausting?
It's a 24/7. It's like I think most people that are here recognize the commitment that these athletes are putting towards this. And it is a 24/7 commitment.
Well, because that athlete's 24/7, But you have 4 of those athletes.
Yeah, it's a all-encompassing thing for the coach as well. To do it right, you need to be fully invested in that. And if that's the case, I can't build the platform, the community that now I'm really excited to do.
It's almost selfish. Like, I'm so focused on you too, I'm overlooking these thousands.
It's what happens in a affiliate.
In a gym.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. It's that. So instead of just focusing on the team you're trying to get to semifinals in the games, you're now focusing on the community.
You're like, oh, there's 160 other people over here who would like my help.
The exact parallel is the growth that CrossFit New England went through, where we were ultra competitive, focused on these individuals, trying to get them to excel at the games, and then try to get these teams to podium at the games.
Right.
And then we, in 2016, went, oh, wait a minute, maybe we could do this a different way.
Maybe there's a better way to do this. So what does your daily involvement in, I don't know what that feedback is, in New England at this point? Like how much are you involved in the day-to-day? Are you still coaching?
I'm like a guest appearance coach, so I'm on I'm in the bullpen.
You're a sub.
I'm a sub. Exactly. Right.
Someone can't make it. All right, I'll get up.
All right.
Because for a long time, you coached every day at 8:30.
I coached the 8:30 from day 1 till year 13.
How'd you finally step down?
The involvement in CompTrain.
You just
Yeah.
how'd the members take it?
Bittersweet because it's their coach.
Yeah, they saw it coming, but they
we
didn't
also
think it would ever happen.
we have great coaches. So Max Isaac, do you know Max?
Max is a
Max is a good friend.
So Max is now running our gym. Max is the GM of CrossFit New England.
Okay.
We
He's
got some
there.
stuff going on with that. With
Yeah.
Max.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
I like Max.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's running
So-
New England, but he's also running.
Our tilts.
Tilts, yeah. No, that's great. I want to going back a step. You were part of seminar staff.
Correct.
And I think it's been so long, people forget that. Both you and Heather.
Yep.
What was your journey to get on staff like?
And when was that?
I
It
met
was
Dave
early
Castro
on.
at one of your events.
Dave came to, remember with like Mackenzie? He showed up with Brian and Andy Stump probably. It was probably like 9.
It was probably 09.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
And
the year we did this like stupid chipper workout, and I like had to print it out. And
It was
I
so
remember
long.
Dave going on camera and be like, I hate that there's contrived workouts. And and probably Savon or something was like, what's that mean? He was like, this. And I was like, tell me to my face
Noted.
next time.
Yeah, thanks.
But it was like, do this, do that weird thing, do this. And he came there. And,
it was that event. That was the final. I remember it.
yeah. Hobart. I think Hobart won.
And after that, Hobart did win. Yep.
Is that sweatpants, Hobart?
Vans. I don't remember if it was
Vans.
sweats, but definitely Vans.
And it was after that event. Heather was already on staff, and he asked me if I was interested.
Heather got on before you?
Yeah.
How'd that?
Heather was a games athlete. So
Yeah,
Heather,
back then it was like-
Yeah.
And then how long were you on staff for?
Probably 2 or 3 years.
So not very long.
No.
And was that, I'm assuming like all of us, you loved it, but you were just like, I can't, too many balls in the air?
It wasn't the right place for me to put my focus. With a family and 2 businesses back home, and the total honest truth is, me presenting to 50 people a weekend did not fill my cup. I would much rather be in front of the same 20 athletes of my 8:30 class every single day and building that depth of a relationship. I found as awesome it was to spread the gospel of the level 1 material and the ethos of CrossFit that we know changes so many lives, and send those people out in the world to create their own spider webs. I felt way more fulfilled with the opportunity to sit down after the 8:30 with 6 people against the wall and just talk shop.
Connect.
Talk shop. And you can't do both of those. If you're going to do seminar staff, there's a day of travel on either side. That leaves you 3 days. That wasn't fulfilling me. So
What? Because I don't think there was any overlap. What years were those when you were doing that?
I didn't overlap.
I think it was
Yeah.
9 to 12.
Yeah, that
'cause we
came
both
on
came on to
13.
13.
I mean, I preach this to people trying to get on staff. We preach it to our clients. Ben was about 3 hours away from me, And I went and drove there and
Remember that.
got feedback. And
Dude, people come to my gym all the
Yeah,
time.
it's
Like,
like-
can I get some feedback? And I'm like, you show
and,
up.
to Ben's credit, I think, sure, come on in. And I remember in between classes getting feedback, and that was shortly after getting on
I've
staff.
had people come to the gym. They're like, hey, I just want to watch you. And I'm like, you want to teach the 9? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, do you want to get better or not? Like,
Yeah,
let's
this
go.
is- this
Get
is
in
how you
there.
do
I was
it.
like, I won't let you break anything. Don't worry.
I think that's a skill. Where'd you get that skill of, if this doesn't align with my values, I don't do it? It's a deep question.
yeah,
Here's somebody ask on the best hour, Ben. I
no.
know what you do on Chasing Excellence, but here
I
we
know
ask
the
hard
answer.
questions.
It was the way. Watching my dad and my best friend's dad chase something and eventually get to it and go for what?
Like what? What do you remember your father's?
Success in business.
What was your father's career?
He did
Is he
like.
still around?
He is. Yep.
Yeah, well,
He managed companies, so he would help he would come in and help companies go public, or he would come in as the CEO of a company.
and is he retired now?
Yes.
But you saw him many years just kind of
So he
on the
chased
grind.
that, like what most people would look at as like success, because he had the financial success and he had the business success, but got divorced at age 60. And
Your parents got divorced at 60?
Yep.
Your biological parents?
Yes.
Are they remarried?
No.
So that's the play. Stay single after
and
60.
and then my best friend's dad, same thing, incredibly successful. He sold weapon systems to Saudi Arabia, and his
that was
mom
lucrative.
and his mom fixed nuclear power plants. When Chernobyl went, they sent her. She's now with Homeland Security. So incredibly successful, but he died of stress. It's like, so I figured out for myself, and this is the right path for everybody. For me, I wanted to make sure I was blurring the line between work and play at all times.
No, and I think that was something from a distance I saw from you. And it was always admirable, but I would always be like, well, I wouldn't do that. But then I didn't get it until years later when I was like, sold the box or...
Well, I think you don't figure that out until...
There's a maturity involved in that.
Well, I think it's a maturity, but it's also like there's more things involved, right? Like you have a family now, and you're like, oh, there's these young people that I want to be a part of their life, and how do I mesh those two together so that I'm not just chasing this thing and they're like, well, Dad travels a lot and we see him sometimes and all those kind of things. Like, yeah, I feel the same way. It's like I want my kids to feel like I'm there, but I also want to do this thing that I love. So how do I do
and
both
show
of
them that work ethic is something. And
that you work really hard, and if you are fortunate, you work really hard at something that you love, you can get good at it, and now you have the best of both worlds. But I think when the family comes in and you're like, like me, I'm sure I'm like, I really like my wife. I'd like to spend a lot of time with her, like my kids. It turns out they're fun.
I think as 3 fathers, that is important. I know you, and I'm pretty sure he's on the same path where it's like, I want to instill that in my kids. Like, hard work is important, but chase your dreams and do the things you love, because then it doesn't feel like work.
So I think without being cliche about it, but like without using the word values, what's important to you? Like what's important to you, and it's gonna be different, but what's important to you, Jason? Like what is really important to you? So if you know that, then you have this destination of where you want to get to. And I said this before, but excellence is just a matter of defining where you want to be, figuring out the steps to get there, and then executing on those and not get distracted by all those other things. So I figured out very early on that there was a few things that were really important to me. Love. I call it the 5 L's:
right.
Love, leadership, living life, and so on. And I was very systematic in that in terms of like creating a list, and I would check them off every day. I had 20 things I would check off every day to make sure I was on that path. Instead of like...
Is that exhausting? That sounds exhausting to me, but that's not for everybody.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
But to me, it was the opposite of exhausting, because what was exhausting was when I realized I hadn't called my mom in 20 days, and that was like, holy crap. I know if I call my mom twice a week, I don't have that. So it creates
kind of like guilt.
So what it does is it creates peace of mind.
Right.
I know that if I'm home every day at 6 o'clock and have a family dinner, that creates this peace of mind for all these. And what happens is people get so far off the track that's, not for this community, but like I haven't worked out in 5 days. And
Right.
like that's
what it sounds like to me. It's not exhausting. It's when you don't live by that, then it's
the
exhausting.
discipline is freedom thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's your daily check-in. Be like, hey,
Yes.
am I doing the things that I said I wanted to do in order to
That.
get where I wanted to go? Yeah.
What are some of the things you do to be a good father?
I think the most important thing of any leadership role is presence. You just have to be there. So I try. Even as my kids, as Bodie is now 11, in middle school, it's the drop off when you practice. Like for practice, every parent, I stay and watch the practice. Like
Every day. What sport does he play?
soccer.
And you watch soccer practice.
Yeah, I stay at the field the whole time.
You yelling, or you like to just like?
Nope.
Can you get your
no
damn
words.
dad to stop
Yeah.
yelling at me? though?
No words.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
A lot of times I'll just do get my steps and I'll walk around the field.
But just the fact that you're there, Bodie
support
sees
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I
And
do that
also-
with Logan's jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you stick around
I
in
go,
jiu-jitsu.
I watch, and because it's
It's
I think
unspoken,
it's,
but
well,
it's
no, it's not unspoken. It's just not words. So,
Interesting.
what
is
I
that?
notice he says
Yeah.
some things sometimes. I
Uncheck
just
that.
Write
ignore
that
them
down.
after a while.
Yeah, but meaning there's a level of communication there that happens, and some of those it just doesn't always have to be verbal.
Well, you've told me
Right.
about your father and just the high five.
Right. Or it can just be like a look, right? She'll look over at me, and it might just be a thumbs up, and you can see physical
Chest
posture
puff up,
change.
right.
Yeah.
Just those little things versus like, hey, I'll be back in a little bit, or you're on your, which I'm guilty of, and that kind of stuff. But I try to be plugged into her, not to interfere, but just like, where's she at? What is she doing? Like, does she need this right now? Does she need me to say, hey, no, you're going to go back in there. I know you said no, but like you're going to finish training today. Like and we'll talk about it afterwards. That stuff's important, because she's 9, right?
No,
like there's emotionally, not all put together.
Well,
I'm
and-
barely put together. I'm 42.
Everything that we're discussing is the art of coaching, whether it's a member or your kids, right? Presence is immensely valuable.
Well, I think it's the same. You've kind of referenced this. It's the same thing on the floor. There's a difference between a coach who is present in that class, and I don't mean they're physically present. I mean like you're plugged in to 22 people
5 days a week
that are going on. And you're like, hey, like I don't have to ask you how you're feeling. I can see it on you, and I'll be like, hey, let's scale today, or like whatever that might be, and like that's the presence and attitude. That's the difference between like a coach who's pretty good, and I'm like that is a killer on the floor right there. That person is plugged into everybody. Everybody's tuned into that coach. And that's what we're talking about Coach B yesterday. Mm-hmm. Like being plugged in. And I think it's really important.
So, the restructure of CompTrain. Anything else going on in your life?
Oh.
Baby number 5, you were saying? No. No. 4 kids is enough?
Oopsies.
Yeah. 4 kids. I met Maya 16 years
oldest.
ago.
Yeah, she's 23
She's this little
now.
kid, always please tell her this. And Heather, of course, young age, I was like, this girl has got her shit together. At 6.
Yeah.
I
She always did.
was like,
So
what
here's
is up with this kid?
so compared
this
to you,
kid's
that's
trying to
not
take
hard,
my
though.
job.
This is a good connect the dots to the question you just asked. At age 6, when you met her, we had her booking our travel.
Buying plane tickets?
Yes.
Hey, Dad, you got first class.
Get us a rental car, get us a hotel.
Not at 6.
Whenever probably.
But earlier than she should have been.
She was working. Dave Castro for
She
all
was
the
Dave's
years.
assistant a couple of times.
Yeah, I
Dave
do
had
remember that,
3
yep.
assistants, sometimes 4, and she was 1 for about 10 years, and then she ran the games for the CompTrain experience for the last 5.
And now you said she was, 28?
She's 23.
23?
Yep.
And master's degree? How you do one thing is how you do everything. And that's parenting. Luck with a good kid as well. But, kudos to you. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
So, anything else that's going on?
I'm really excited about the CompTrain thing.
And people can find CompTrain.co still?
CompTrain.com.
You got the com?
We got the
For a
com.
while it was
We got
the
we
CO,
got
no?
both. It was the
How'd you get
CO.
the com? How'd you
We
get the
paid
dog
for
com?
it.
Did somebody
Yes.
have that because it was related
Yes,
to
and
you guys, and they swiped it, or because
Cyber squatting.
it was
Yeah,
another
yeah,
thing?
It's just that. Yep.
Did you have to pay a lot?
A lot.
We had to buy besthour.com too, yeah.
We did?
I did, years ago.
Well, I don't think we paid a lot for it.
Not as much as CompTrain, but people do squat on it. But it's been awesome catching up. Cody, you want your book signed? Oh, yeah, he said he always travels.
God.
You said you always travel with Chasing Excellence.
I love it, Cody.
Well, Tim Ferriss isn't on the show, Cody. Ben Bergeron is. But it's been awesome catching up with you. You know, you're a pillar in this community. You continue to be, and it's to see your evolution. You know, Fern talks about this. We need rabbits in the CrossFit space and the affiliate space, but you've been a rabbit for perhaps longer than anyone else.
I appreciate that.
And it's been really fun to see. Thanks for coming on.
Are you going to be back next year just in spectator capacity?
I'll probably be more than a spectator capacity. I'll probably be here connecting with the community.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get a booth like us.
Yes.
Yeah. Come back on the podcast next year. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.